Hi, welcome back to AT Math. Today, 9.9 The Quadratic Formula and the Discriminant. The Quadratic Formula. Now this here, in the past I've had students actually write this down 25, 50, 75, even 100 times because it's just something you have to memorize. There's no easy way, there's no quick formula. The Quadratic Formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. As far as I remember, the high school will need you to have it memorized or know it. So I'll leave it up to you to figure out how you want to have this thing done. I would suggest that you have it written down multiple times for you to get practiced in it. Now, by the time the lesson's over, you'll be able to do this. You'll be able to take 2x squared plus 6x plus 1 equals 0. And you'll be able to say, okay, the first numbers here, the first number in front of x squared is a, the number in front of x is b, and the number without an x is c. So a is 2, b is 6, c is 1. And then you'll be able to plug them in simply to this formula. So whenever you see a b, we plug in a 6 because now b is 6. Whenever we see an a, we plug in a 2. Whenever we see an c, plug in a 1. So notice what I've done here. I went ahead and taken the quadratic formula and merely plugged in all the numbers. Now what you do, and the most vital part, is inside here. 6 squared is 36. 4 times 2 times 1 is 8. So you have 8. 36 minus 8 is going to be 28. Oh, and the bottom is 2 times 2 is 4. So you have 28, square root of 28. So negative 6 plus or minus square root of 28 over 4. Then simply root 28. 28 roots into 5.29. Now here's where we have two options. You have negative 6 plus 5.29, all divided by 4, and negative 6 minus 5.29 divided by 4. So run both options, and you'll find the two different answers right here, still being divided by 4. It's either negative 0.1775 and negative 2.8225. You'll get it. It's going to take a little practice. Now let's try this. 2x squared plus 3x minus 5 equals 0. A is 2, b is 3, c is negative 5. So again, just plug it into this formula. Whenever you see a b, plug in a 3. Whenever you see an a, plug in a negative 5. Whenever you see a c, when you see an a, plug in a 2, b a 3, c a negative 5. So notice here that I simply replaced all the different letters with the numbers. Here, 3 squared is 9. Now what I would do is I'd take negative 4 times 2 times negative 5. That's what I would do. Or you can just take 4 times 2 times negative 5 and get negative 40. But notice how the two negatives make a positive. So whichever makes you feel better. Two negatives make a positive, makes 49. 49 roots into 7. Now don't worry about making a plus or minus because there's already a plus or minus here. So just make this a 7. Negative 3 plus or minus 7 over 4. Split the two different options. Negative 3 plus 7, negative 3 minus 7, both divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Negative 10 divided by 4 is negative 2.5. Now this, 2x equals x squared minus 3. First of all, you move them over to one side. We've done in lessons past. It really doesn't matter which side you move them to because whether the parabola is like this or like this is going to go through the intercepts the same way. So I'm just going to go ahead and move this over this way, minus 2x. So now I have x squared minus 2x minus 3. And I plug in the quadratic formula. A is 1, b is negative 2, and c is negative 3. You plug those in. Negative 2 squared, negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. 4 times 1 times negative 3 is negative 12, and then a negative. See, you can do it that way, or I just might take negative 4 times 1 times negative 3 and just put the answer there. If it's positive, I put a plus. But whatever makes you happy. Negative times negative is a positive. So that becomes really 4 plus 12. And the root of 4 and the root of 16 is 4. So 2 plus 4 and 2 minus 4, and they're both being divided by 2. 2 plus 4 is 6, divided by 2 is 3. 2 minus 4 is negative 2, divided by 2 is negative 1. And there you have that. You try. Go ahead. Let's see how you did. A is -3, B is 5, C is 2. Plug them in here. This is what they become. -4 times -3 times 2. I'm getting positive 24 right here. And then 5 squared is 25. 25 plus 24 is 49. Root 49, which is 7. So you have -5 plus 7 divided by -6, and -5 minus 7 divided by -6. So you have 2 divided by -6 and -12 divided by -6. So you have -1/3 and positive 2. So at the intercept line, no matter if it goes this way or this way, it's cutting across at x equals 2 and x equals -1/3. Now we're going to take a part of this quadratic operation. The b squared minus 4ac, that is the discriminant. So that little piece there, not even the square root, just b squared minus 4ac, just that piece is called a discriminant. What the discriminant does is it tells you if there are 0, 1, or 2 solutions to the equation. Here's how you know. If b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, then there's 2 answers. That means that the parabola is going to go through the x-intercept twice at 2 points. If b squared minus 4ac equals 0, then there's 1 answer, meaning the parabola is going to sit on or reach up to just, if this was the x-intercept, either be right at the line, this way, or this way. That's if there's 1 answer. If there's no answer, if this is the x-intercept, meaning the parabola doesn't even hit the x-intercept line, it misses it completely. And how do you know that? Well, if you notice that the discriminant is inside the square root. If the answer is negative of any sort, then you know you can't have a square root of a negative number, therefore it's an undefined answer, so that's how you know there's no solution. Example, x squared minus 4x plus 3. And again, we'll do a is 1, b is -4, c is 3. Quick note, notice how there's no number actually in front of the x squared. Therefore, in that case, if there's no number, we would just say there's 1x squared. Because if I said a number by itself is just 1. In other words, if I say a, how many is a? 1a. If I say I have an apple, how many is an apple? 1 apple. So x squared is 1x squared. So a is 1. Either way, you get b squared minus 4ac. So we're just going to do that piece, the discriminant. So -4 times -4 minus 4 times 1 times 3. -4 squared is 16. -4 times 1 times 3. Well, 4 times 1 times 3 is 12. -4 squared is 16. 16 minus 12 is 4. Now, the only thing that 4 means is that it just means it's larger than 0. Therefore, all I care about is the fact that since it's a positive number, there's going to be 2 solutions, meaning if this is the x-intercept, the parabola is coming through twice. That's all that means. And to prove it, I have my quadratic formula. I go ahead and plug in the answer. Go ahead and finish it up. Notice that I get 4 plus 2 divided by 2, which is 6 over 2, which is 3. 4 minus 2 divided by 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1. And the only thing that 4 meant was they were going to be 2 positive answers. Note that my 2 answers are now 3 and 1. If you plug them both in, the 3 and the 1, you will find that they total out. Or you could graph it, x squared minus 4x plus 3, and notice how, as it comes down, it's going to hit through twice, at the 1 and at the 3. I don't need you to graph it all, but my point is if you take it all the way from the beginning, this guy here, that when you find out how many solutions there are, you come all the way back down here and say, well, I can see that they go through the intercept twice. And that's how you know. Notice how the x-intercepts meet at 1 and 3. That's true. Anyway, back to the discriminant. So again, if b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, 2 answers, equals 0, 1 answer, less than 0, no answer. Let's try this one. X squared plus 2x plus 1. So a is 1, b is 2, c is 1. B squared minus 4ac, b squared, which is 2 squared, which makes 4, minus 4 times 1 times 1. Alright, well, 4 times 1 times 1 is 4. 2 squared is 4. So 4 minus 4 is 0. Since the discriminant is 0, it means there's only one answer. It means it sits on it or rests on it. Let's take a look. Proving it, x squared plus 2x plus 1. Notice that when I make my parabola, it meets right here, but it only meets there once. It doesn't go through and come back up again. Because the answer was 0, there's one solution. You try. X squared plus 1x plus 1 equals 0. Go ahead. Okay. A, B, C. A is 1, B is 1, C is 1. B squared is 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times 1. 1 squared is 1. 4 times 1 times 1 is 4. 1 minus 4 is negative 3. Because the discriminant is negative, there is no solution to the equation at all. Now you might say, why is there no solution? But take a look. If I go ahead and graph this, here's what my parabola would look like. Notice how it never hits the x-intercept whatsoever. Because it never hits the x-intercept, it's still a parabola, but there's no x solution. That's all. Finally, your physics application. A weight of 1 foot above the ground on a carnival strength test is shot straight up with an initial velocity of 35 feet per second. Will it ring the bell at the top of the pole? You've seen this at Great America and other places. You hit the thing and the thing goes up in the air. Very popular in early America in the 50s, 60s, and carnivals. You know, all the guys would want to put down $1 and try their strength and see how high they could hit the thing. First set up the gravity equation. Now if you remember gravity, so go ahead and put negative 16t squared, which is gravity. Now the upward thrust, if you remember, was 35 feet per second, so 35t. Starting height is 1 foot, because they say that the weight 1 foot above the ground. Now they don't mean a weight of 1 pound, they're saying the weight was 1 foot above the ground itself. In other words, is raised on that platform a foot. And then it's going up 35 feet per second, but of course gravity being a constant of negative 16t squared. And the question is, will it hit, let's see, will it hit the top of the pole, which is 20 foot? So 20 equals negative 16t squared plus 35t plus 1. First, we got to put everything to one side. So I'm going to take this 20 and minus 20 to both sides, which I did. Then ABC. A is negative 16, B is 35, C is negative 19. Now, this part's the discriminant here. And so by plugging that in, I see 9's positive, so there's 2 x-intercepts. Well, that makes sense because it's a parabola, so it's simply going to be, it's saying it's going to be somewhere on a graph. Well, let's go further. We'll go ahead and plug it into the Pythagorean theorem. Not Pythagorean, I knew I was going to say that. Plug into the quadratic formula. Go ahead and plug in. A is negative 16, B is 35, C is negative 19. I'll spare you all the long math. You could calculate it if you want. It gets to this. 4 times 304 makes this. Minus these two makes a 9. Square root of 9 makes 3. So you have negative 35 plus 3 over negative 32, and negative 35 minus 3 divided by negative 32. Split the 2. Negative 32 over negative 32 is 1. Negative 38 over negative 32 is 1 3/16. 9 is positive, so there are 2 x-intercept answers. And there you have it, meaning that when you hit the thing, will it ring the bell on top? Basically, because there is an answer that yes, if you plug them in, is that yes, there's going to be enough force at 1 second it's going to ding the bell. And imagine that if it could go higher than the top of the bell, it would come back down to the 20 foot at 1 3/16. Meaning simply that if it had just enough force to hit the bell, there'd only be one answer. If it never hit the bell, there would have been no answer. Because there was enough force to hit the bell and would have gone a little higher above, there are 2 answers. So imagine a parabola. If this was, let's say, the stretch of the pole, the 20 foot on the carnival ride, your force would have put you right about here and put you back down again. And that's all it's saying. Alright, good job. We are done. Notice I did not have any videos today, no funny clips. I've had some copyright issues lately. Apparently some of the things I've used is copyrighted material, so I'm going to try to not do that from now on. So I'll try my videos quicker and easier. Thanks again. Bye.